This is not the permanent intro. So that's yeah, that's you know, kind of whatever. So anyway, what's up everybody? I really didn't want to make this my first video, but under the circumstances, PowToTech, if you don't know who he is, it is another YouTube channel, obviously. But he is a Fuji user and does tons of videos about the Fuji system and different Fuji cameras, lenses, etc. I kind of liken him. He's about as close to a Mark Gaylor as we have in the Fuji community. If you don't know who Mark Gaylor is, if you're a Sony user, you probably know who he is. He does a lot of fantastic, like really long form videos about the Sony system. When I had my A7 III, he was the most watched channel in my household as far as trying to figure out the Sony system. So a few days ago, there was I see here lately that a lot of YouTubers are using these polls and different things to help viewers choose and decide what they would like to see from said YouTuber. Or sometimes they'll just ask general questions about a company or whatever, a piece of equipment, whatever the case may be. And PowToTech put up this poll the other day, and I actually participated in the poll. As of the shooting of this video, this is currently what's going on with the poll right now. And as you can see, the number one with 42%, and I don't know exactly how many, I know in his video, he mentioned somewhere around 3,200 had participated in this poll, which is a great amount of people. But improved autofocus for new camera models. If you don't know who PowToTech is, this is the guy right here. This is I don't even know his first name. He's probably said it in a video. I apologize, sir, if I don't know your name. I'm horrible with names anyway. I'll never forget your face. But anyway, this is the video actually that he posted yesterday. My message to Fujifilm, and this is kind of I kind of wanted to, in a sense, I wanted to do this video sort of like Jared Polin did with Dear Nikon. I kind of wanted to go down that route because it was a really cool video. Whether you agree or disagree with Jared Polin on Nikon on that particular video, it was well made, obviously. I mean, he's got a great team. They make fantastic videos. It was a very cinematic, cool looking video, but it's only me doing this. So I'm the only one, and I don't really have anyone to hold the camera while I'm trying to look like I'm actually writing a letter to Fuji. But I wish I could have done that. That would have been so awesome. But then, people would accuse me of copying Jared. So anyway, I'll just do this the way I normally do videos. But anyway, that's PowToTech. And he did this video, and it was very respectful, and it was very detailed as far as what users want from Fujifilm moving forward. I would like to add to that just a little bit because I honestly think they can make us happy now before these new cameras come. Now, obviously, we know with the Fuji rumors going around, I keep up with the Fuji rumors just like you do. And of course, there's anybody that watched the Fuji presentation a few months ago, at the very end, they teased this 40 megapixel BSI stacked sensor, which is going to be phenomenal. I mean, it sounds really, really good. A stacked sensor. I mean, the shooting speeds are already incredible on Fuji cameras. The XT4, the XT4 here and the XT3, they're already really good. They're fast. For the most part, if you know how to handle the cameras, certain focusing modes and all that, you can make it work. However, the biggest problem that I've had with the XT4, and this is my first camera with Fuji. I figured, I sold all my Nikon gear. I had the Nikon Z mirrorless system. I had the Z6 II and the Z5 as a backup. I had, 4 or 5 lenses and I was happy with it, but I just couldn't justify the cost of the full frame lenses until I start making money from my photography, because I'm 2.5 years in and I've shot a few friends with the camera. I actually shot people. So I've done these photo shoots, you know, a couple here and there for free, trying to break into photography. And at my age, it's kind of tough to do because a majority of photographers, at least in the Amarillo area here, they're all millennials and, you know, mostly women. So it's tough to get into the world of photography at my age, especially being a male. I think most people that are wanting a photo shoot done and all that are feel more comfortable with a female, and that's fine, you know, whatever. But that's just the way it is. You know, nobody wants the old creepy guy with the camera walking around taking pictures. So I've basically been doing street photography with this camera for the most part. However, I would like to use it as a pro at some point later on. And I've seen John Branch 4. That's one of the YouTube channels that actually kind of pushed me towards Fujifilm in the first place. But the thing about it is, I noticed something about John Branch 4 and also Reggie B. Reggie B is also a wedding photographer. They're actually on opposite coasts. John Branch 4 is on the East Coast and Reggie B is on the West Coast. And they're both fantastic wedding photographers. They both use Fujifilm and they're both, you know, successful at it, obviously. Now, John Branch 4 lately has gone into the GFX system, the medium, you know, Fuji's idea of medium format, and kind of left us high and dry here on the APS-C side. No offense, John. I love John. I love his videos. I love his attitude. He seems like a really awesome guy. But I really think things need to be addressed, you know. And what I've noticed is these guys use XT3s. They're not using the XT4. And the XT4 has been out for a while now, and they're still using the XT3. And there's been some reports that the XT3 autofocus is actually better than the XT4. Now, I don't know. They've got the same sensor. They got the same processor. Everything's the same except the XT4 has a few better video options, I guess. And I think the XT3 may have been updated to the point where they have the same pretty much everything. Don't quote me on that. You know, I don't have an XT3 to know. But, you know, aside from battery life, of course, the XT4 got the new battery. I'm perfectly happy with the battery life. It's not quite as good as the Sony Z batteries or the Nikon batteries for the Z6 II, but they're pretty close. They're pretty damn good. I have a grip for mine for my XT4, and with those 3 batteries, phenomenal battery life. So you can get a couple days out of it depending on what you're shooting. And the thing about it is, I think these guys, because they are such Fuji lovers, they love Fuji, and not only them, I think it's other people as well. They're afraid to address the problem with the autofocus. I really think that they don't want to shed any bad light on Fujifilm, because Fujifilm is kind of starting to make a dent. You know what I mean? I mean, they've always had their niche and they've always had their fans. You know, they haven't really ventured into the competitive world that the full frame market has become. And it is. A full frame is insane. And most full frame manufacturers, they have APS-C cameras, but they're, you know, they're whatever. They're just plain Jane cameras and nobody really cares. Fuji kind of jumped on with the, you know, they had the retro look, which a lot of people love with the dials, and, you know, it kind of goes back to the old days of how you adjust your camera. But the autofocus, if you want to use this thing for sports, if you want to use this thing for, you know, other fast moving objects and stuff like that, you're going to have issues. It's going to be tougher to get the same kind of good, clean photos as you would with a full frame camera, especially with Sony and Canon. Sony and Canon are 1 and 2. You know, they kind of go back and forth. Sony's been king for a while. Canon came out with just an amazing autofocus system. And, you know, the new R3 or whatever it is supposed to be amazing. And, you know, not to mention they're making their bodies smaller. It seems like the full frame bodies are getting smaller and the APS-C bodies are getting bigger, because this body is actually a little bit bigger than the XT3. I mean, I think they're, you know, it's about this. It's mostly the same. It's just slightly a little bit bigger. From what I've been told, I haven't even held an XT3 in my hand. This is the only Fuji I've shot. But, and again, I don't shoot things, you know, randomly. I'm talking about photography when I say shooting or shot. So leave me alone, YouTube. I just think there's a serious issue, not a serious issue, but I would highly suggest if you happen to be a YouTube creator that shoots Fuji, and there's quite a few out there. There's more out there than you would think. I think if you see this video, if you see PowToTech's video, and I think somebody else just brought it up as well. I hate to say that PowToTech is the only one that's brought this issue up to the public, but because I'm almost certain somebody else did too. But if you're a creator like a John Branch or a Reggie B or somebody like that, and there's a lot out there. I suggest you make a video too. Be respectful and help us out. Help other Fuji users get the word out to Fujifilm via your channel. And you've got much bigger fan bases than I do. You can reach a lot more people. I suggest that you guys please make those videos and just be honest. I mean, you love the Fuji system. It works for you. You've built a business on it. But there's still an issue that needs to be addressed. And Fuji is not going to fix something if the large majority of people are still buying their cameras regardless of the situation with autofocus. And it's not just autofocus. I mean, you saw in the survey that there was some people complaining about the updates, firmware updates as well. I'm not as concerned with that as I am with the autofocus. Autofocus is my main thing. The camera I'm shooting on right now, just Fuji, if you happen to catch this video, the camera that I'm shooting with right now is one of the cheapest Sony cameras. It's a newer camera, ZV-1. It's been out for about a year or so. This thing has not lost my eye once. Not once. Even I could do this all day long. I could just do it all day long, and it'll never miss. It'll always snap back. It'll always snap back. And I've used this camera trying to do Zoom calls and trying to do live YouTube shows. And I'm telling you, the focus is not good. It's just not good for video. It struggles in low light shooting stills. So there is an issue with the camera. There's an issue. I don't know if it's firmware. Here's another thought. And I was just thinking about this the other day because I keep seeing, some posts about the lenses, the legacy lenses. That might be part of the problem as well. I think Fuji just has a lot of old lenses that are still fantastic lenses. The 56 1.2 is one that I would kind of like to get just because of the legacy. Everybody just raves about it. When it came out, it was like, it was the bomb. It was the lens to have, for portraits. But I think, it's, most people now say that it's extremely slow focusing. So for that reason alone, I'm not sure I would even attempt to buy it unless I could get it just dirt cheap. But, and of course the 50 1.0 is, I guess, kind of replaced it. So maybe not, I don't know. But the point is, I think they have such older, the older lenses that are out there just can't keep up with even the newer technology, the XT3, XT4 technology. For street photography, for portraits, for stuff like that, where you're not in a rush to which I guess street photography, you can be in a rush. But for the most part, you're not in a huge rush to zoom in and lock in a focus on an object. And you're usually not shooting fast-moving objects, so it's not a big deal. Or you're not shooting videos too much, so it's not a big deal. But if you're trying to shoot sports or you're trying to shoot videos, and you want that focus locked, like on this video where, I mean, I'm sitting there watching on the screen, and it's bouncing back and forth between my eyes. And if that box disappears off my eye, it's on my head, and it hasn't missed yet. It won't miss. It's amazing technology. And this is the cheapest offering from Sony currently with the newer autofocus technology. So, I mean, you can do it. It's available. Fujifilm buys its sensors from Sony. So, make a deal with Sony or something. Figure out something with maybe the X-Trans deal has something to do with it. I have no idea. Maybe the processor isn't as good or isn't good enough to give us autofocus like Sony or Canon. I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know what the deal is. You know, what I hope it's not is that they're holding back, that they're hoping that, you know, they figured out that some of these other manufacturers withhold features to get you to buy the next camera. Eventually that's going to come back to bite you, because I can tell you right now, just from a consumer's point of view and just kind of keeping an eye out on what's going on in the world of photography and camera sales and you know, lenses and stuff like that, full frame is getting to the price point where it doesn't even make total sense to even buy an APS-C camera. I mean, it has its, look, Fujifilm has this thing with the film simulations and all that, and people love the cameras and they love the feel, the look, and all that, but that's only going to take you so far. And I guess it wouldn't bother me, except Fujifilm itself brags that you don't need full frame, that their APS-C cameras are just as good as full frame cameras, but they're not. I mean, image quality, you can get sharpness, you can blow them up, you know, and stuff like that as far as big pictures and you know, posters, but autofocus, you're not even close. You're just not, you know, and if you say this out loud, you know, I'm thank goodness I'm not in a lot of Fuji groups or anything like that, because the few that I am, people get irate. Fuji fanboys to get mad if you say anything derogatory about their system. I mean, it's worse than the other manufacturers. And I've been in groups as I would have a group or have a certain model of camera or brand of camera, I would move into that group, and then I would, you know, just kind of hang around and kind of soak up information from other people. And if I could add to it, I would add to the conversation. But Fuji, man, Fuji fans are definitely, you know, I would say a little more extreme, and you have your niche. You have your group of hardcore owners that are going to keep buying Fujifilm, and they're going to keep using Fujifilm because they love what it does, and for them, it works out great. But if you plan on competing with full frame cameras or the full frame big boys, you're going to have to improve that autofocus. And I ask you respectively and without of love, as being a Fujifilm shooter now, please fix the autofocus in the XT4 and the XT3. And don't come out with a version 2 like you did with the XT30. That's the same thing as, well, we might as well just wait for the XH2, you know? Camera sales couldn't have been that great with the XT4. And I've seen, I don't know, obviously I don't work for Fuji. I have no clue. But it is kind of hard to find a used XT4 on like KEH or MPB or any of these companies that sell used cameras. But I don't understand why, you know, nobody's addressing this and nobody's bringing this up. And PowToTech, he did a fantastic job, much better job than I did, or that I'm doing, laying this out for Fuji and say, look, I did this survey. This is what your owners want. These are the people that want to buy in your system. I want to buy into your system. But the lenses need to be improved. The 50-140 is a great lens, but will it be able to resolve 40 megapixels? Well, basically, somebody that just spent $1,500, if you had to pay full retail price, if you have this lens, is it even going to be worth using, trying to use? Even if you bought the 200 f2 at what is it now, $7,000? That's a huge amount of money to lay down for a sports lens, and it won't be able to resolve 40 megapixels. You know, you're going to have a camera that could possibly shoot 120 frames a second in, you know, maybe half the resolution at 20 megapixels or something. If the lens can't focus that fast, it's useless. It's basically useless. You know, at least, you know, you've got Canon with the new mount and new lens system, Nikon with the Z system, you know, and Sony has improved their system and come out with new lenses to match their new technology as well. Somewhere there's something wrong. You know, there's just something wrong. You know, if people are going to use these cameras, and I'm not saying people haven't been able to use these cameras in sports shooting, because I've seen the videos. I've seen people come out with videos to say that that's the case. They use this professionally and they shoot sports with it as well. But when you look on the sidelines of the NFL game or NBA or any of the other professional sports or even collegiate sports, you don't see Fuji. You just don't see Fuji out there. You know, and you probably won't for a while. You know, this XH2, this new sensor coming out should be phenomenal. On paper, looks fantastic. But on paper, this camera should have easily beaten the A7 III. Easily beaten it. But the A7 III, even with the older eye autofocus technology from Sony, was still way better than this camera at focusing. Way better. Rolling shutter obviously is better on this. I think the colors are better. Most people buy Fuji for the colors and the film simulations and all that. You have a lot of positives in this camera and with this system. You know, lenses are less expensive and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. It's easier to build up a nice professional lens setup than it is with full frame. And we appreciate that. Don't take any of these videos as we don't appreciate you, Fujifilm. We really, really do. We appreciate what you've done in the market so far. You've brought medium format type. It's not true medium format, but it's, you know, it's better. It's bigger sensors than full frame. You're bringing that in where nobody else has been able to match the prices, and you're bringing it in very nicely, I might add. But as for me personally, I'm not going to spend more money on a medium format when I don't even want to spend the money for full frame. It doesn't make sense. I'm happy with APS-C. You know, I'm happy with it. I just need it to work better. You know, I think a lot of other people echo the same sentiments. I just want it to work better. I just want the AF to work. You know, I'll be happy. You get the AF and you don't even have to beat Sony. You don't have to beat Sony or beat Canon. Just come up to par. Just like Nikon. Nikon was raked over the coals with their Z series over autofocus. Jared Polin just took giant craps on Nikon every chance he got because of it. And they've kind of dug their way out of it. The Z9 is phenomenal, you know, but they also improved the Z6, the base model. They improved the Z6 to the point where it's as good as the Z6 II now. But even at its worst, it was better than this. Even at Nikon's worst, it was better. Can you imagine if Jared Polin got a hold of an XT4, how he would have raked this thing across the coals, you know, and for autofocus? He would have smashed this thing. So it's probably a good thing Jared shoots in full frame, doesn't shoot APS-C. But anyway, this is just my opinion. These are just my words, my opinion, my thoughts. I just ask that if you are a Fuji ambassador, if you are a YouTube creator or a creator anywhere else, and you have a voice that Fuji will listen to, please say something. Don't hold back. They're not going to stop sending you stuff. I mean, you get up to a certain point in your channel, in your, you know, your business, you know, with Fuji, they're not just going to quit sending you stuff because they're going to need creators more and more as they try to venture into this world that they're trying to get into. So, you know, I just say something, you know, be respectful. You can be respectful and be nice, just like PowToTech. It was a fantastic video. I'll have links in the description down below where you can watch it for yourself. I think it was a very respectful video. Very nice. Nice work. But anyway, thanks for watching the video. And if you would like to, please subscribe. And hopefully we'll return to our regularly scheduled creator channel thing soon where I can actually make, you know, videos that I want to make. And again, I kind of wanted to make this. I just want Fuji to understand I love your system. I love everything about it. The X-T4 is a phenomenal camera. It's one of my favorite cameras. Aside from ergonomics, it's one of my favorite cameras to use. And I've used a bunch of different cameras. And they were all full frame. And I like this better. You know, in most cases, I like this better. But give me better autofocus, or give me the lenses that will take advantage of the processing power in these cameras. And hopefully there's some sort of solution with the lens situation when this new sensor comes out, when the XH2 or XT5, whatever it's going to be, hopefully they get this straightened out, because it's make or break for a lot of people. If this camera comes out and the lenses that are currently in the system, now we have 3 that everybody says will be able to resolve 40 megapixels, the newest lenses from Fuji. But we're talking the big lenses, the 1-400 or 100-400, the 50-140, and the 200 f2. If those lenses can't autofocus with the new system, I mean, you're going to have to come out with new lenses too. And we all know the chip shortage is already, basically preventing people from upgrading their equipment now. They can't even, they're ordering all these Z9s and R3s and all this. They're not going to see them till next year, late in the year, probably 3 to 6 months out that they're even going to get their hands on this stuff. And it's only getting worse for now, as far as everybody can tell. So please just fix the system. Give us a firmware update or something. Hire somebody that can figure out how to do this. Give us just a little bit better. Just a little better. Give me some sticky autofocus, and I'll be perfectly happy. Sorry, I keep going on. I want to exit the video, and I keep rambling, and I just won't shut up. Why am I doing this? So anyway, thanks again for watching this unnecessarily long video. I appreciate the watches. Is that what you say? Please like and subscribe, and we'll have some more videos. The next couple video, or well, at least the next video, I'm going to do one on the photography guys on YouTube that has influenced me, and maybe it'll give you, as a new photographer, somewhere to go that you don't know about. And maybe some of them you know about, some of them you don't know about, just to kind of give you an idea of my journey, because this is kind of what this channel is about. It's my journey. It's about my journey. That's it. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, please. That helps with the old word that I can't say, algorithm.